Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Yance. This time to my right, we have a little change in personnel tonight. Matt's sick. Hopefully, Matt, you get better if you watch this one. But in his place tonight, we have Ben Connors. What's up, Ben?
What's going on, guys?
Man, not much, man, not much. And then down below, we got Brady. What's up, Brady?
Not too much. Just appreciate Ben for coming on. We're glad to have him, especially to talk, a game I'm sure he's very excited about for this weekend. So glad to be on.
Most definitely, man. We're very excited about this game. Obviously, the AFC Championship, the Bengals and the Chiefs, 6:30 p.m. on CBS and Paramount Plus. But this kind of sparked a little interest. All right, obviously, Joe Burrow played Josh Allen this past weekend, and the Bengals, ended up winning pretty handily. And, there was a lot of talks about, okay, did Burrow or Allen kind of, this is a movement between who's probably the second best quarterback in football from what some said. That kind of prompted myself to go ahead and make a quarterback list, the top 10 quarterbacks from the 2022 season. All right, people, this is not, rankings of, Tom Brady's not number one. That's a spoiler. All right. Tom Brady's not number one. He's the greatest quarterback of all time, but he's not number one this year. He's old as shit. All right. So let me just go into these, the number 10 through 6. All right. Aaron Rodgers at number 10. I didn't think he had that bad of a season overall. Obviously they had a really, really slow start. And he played clean football. He was, he didn't have terrible numbers overall. I think he was 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So wasn't bad, but definitely could have been better. They ended up missing the playoffs and everything. We look at number 9, Jared Goff. Jared Goff had, I'd argue, a career year. He had 4,438 yards. 29 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He took care of the football. He completed 65% of his passes. He was very efficient and reliable for the Lions and led them to a winning season. One of the first winning seasons they've had since 2016. So did a really good job there. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence, 4,113 yards passing, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. One of the least sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League. The Jags were able to rebound from a 3-7 start, go 9-8, win the division, win a playoff game as well, have that insane comeback where he threw 4 interceptions, which I know Brady was, smiling about that for sure in the first half. And overall, what's the Clemson guy's name on Twitter? You want to shout him out on the show?
I would like to. Clemson _addict. You guys please blow up his Twitter mentions and tell him that Clemson sucks and they're not winning any more national championships. Probably won't even make the college football playoff, and if they do, it's because they're playing the ACC and they're going to get destroyed.
Fantastic. Definitely had to plug that right there for sure, man. Number 7, another school, fuck Michigan, but number 7, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, obviously, he's 45, whatever the hell he is. I mean, he's old, but he threw for 4,694 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Really ended the year strong, disregarding that playoff game. The playoff game was just a colossal mess for the Bucs, and I mean, we don't know where he's going to end up being this coming season. And then number 6, Geno Smith, man, Pro Bowl quarterback, 4,282 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 100.9 passer rating this year, amongst the top in the NFC and in the NFL overall. So, I mean, Geno Smith, he bought out this year, completed 69.8% of his passes. Take the 0.8 out. Nice. And then we'll go into the top 5. Actually, before we go to top 5, do you guys have any, anything you would change, anything you like about this list? What's any of your guys' takes on this so far?
I think it's a pretty good list overall for sure, especially in terms of just straight up this year. Like, obviously, Aaron Rodgers did not meet his expectations, but still didn't play poorly at the same time. You could tell he missed Devontae Adams, obviously. Jared Goff, very good season for him. Trevor Lawrence, great rebound from his rookie year. Tom Brady, still Tom Brady, getting old, but still, still putting up some pretty good numbers. And then Geno Smith obviously was the clear better quarterback than Russell Wilson, which is all the Seahawks fans wanted to see. So I think it's very solid.
Most definitely. Broncos country, let's cry. Ben, what you got?
Likewise, I agree. I think 3 of the quarterbacks made their way into the top 10 this season, and 2 almost fell out, specifically Rodgers. So I think it's pretty fair. I think the 3 that squeaked in, Goff, Lawrence, and Geno, all deserve it. And then Rodgers and Brady, lackluster, but they still deserve to be top 10 somewhere.
All right, glad you guys agree with this. Let's see how you guys fare with these 3 through 5. So you got Justin Herbert at 5. He had a good year, 68% completion percentage, was second in the league in passing yards, 4,739 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I know he had, a lot of injuries on the outside. Keenan Allen was out for a while. Mike Williams was too. A lot of the times, both those guys were on the field at the same time. He still made credit where credit was due. And, got us into the playoffs. Obviously blew the lead to Trevor Lawrence, but, he still had a, very good season. Number 4, Josh Allen. A lot of people would probably think Josh Allen would be 3, but, I think the start of the season, Josh Allen was hot. He was doing his thing. He was, absolutely Mr. Everything for the Buffalo Bills the entire way. 4,283 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Only completed 63% of his passes, just put the ball in harm's way too much, whether it was in the air or on the ground. And then number 3, Jalen Hurts. I know he missed a couple games, but Hurts, 3,700 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 101.6 passer rate. And he had like 10 rushing touchdowns. If you're talking about being a dual threat quarterback, this is the definition of a dual threat quarterback in the National Football League. Obviously, you got to be, somewhat concerned for his health moving forward if he's going to take some more bigger hits and stuff like that. But he is balled out, and that's why he's in the MVP conversation this year. What are your guys' thoughts on Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and the spots they're at?
I think it's in terms of just straight up who had a better season. I would say Jalen Hurts had the better season at 3. So I don't disagree with it. I think that Jalen Hurts took a massive step, and I think quite a few people did expect it. Maybe not to quite this level, but especially fantasy people had him really high on their quarterbacks list. A lot of people thought he was the number 1 or 2 fantasy quarterback coming into the year. Most people would say 2 behind Allen, actually, but I believe he finished ahead of him in that category, which obviously is different from real life. But, the extra element he has with his rushing ability is really outstanding for their team, especially when they have guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to throw the ball downfield to. And if they're not open, maybe Jalen Hurts is running for a first down, which usually one of them is open because it's almost unguardable at that point because especially with Goddard and all those guys, they have Miles Sanders. It's an elite offense, and Jalen Hurts really stepped up to help orchestrate it, and definitely deserving of that spot for sure.
Most definitely. Ben, what you got?
I agree too. I think Jalen Hurts has what we thought Allen had around him. Obviously the Bengals game is the one that we kind of saw that all fall apart. I think Hurts deserves number 3, and I think Allen falling back is mainly due to the playoffs and what they thought he could do. Yeah. And then Herbert just looks great at number 5. I think we can just let him sit there, and I don't have any complaints
without
with
a doubt
at all. So I like it. I think Allen playoffs hurt Allen. I think Herbert stayed about the same. And I think Jalen Hurts, especially we'll see on Sunday, I think he'll earn that 3rd spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that.
Without a doubt.
Very fair.
Yep, just looking at the whole thing there. It's, we got a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great young quarterbacks in the National Football League, and it's going to be exciting to see how all that turns out in the future. We're already 10 minutes into the show, but, AFC Championship talk. We only got from 10 to 3, but that's why, the top 2 quarterbacks are in this game. Joe Burrow, number 2, leading the Bengals. Just look at the recent success he's had. He's 5-1 in the playoffs so far. 4,475 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 68% completion percentage. Brady, what has impressed you with Joe Burrow's game so far, this 2022 season?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised the way he's played because I thought he was this good for a while now. But in terms of, I've just been impressed with everything in terms of like ball placement, accurate. I mean, the things he's always been great at. His decision making is very good. Even though he threw 12 picks, which isn't awful, but like it's a decent amount. It's because he trusts his receivers. So usually quarterbacks to be great players are going to throw some picks. But I just think he really understands where to go with the ball and how to read coverages, and he throws a really good ball as well. So number 2, definitely the right spot for him. Definitely think he's better than Allen, and which was kind of the debate before. After watching especially that game where Allen looked just, not very good at all, and Burrow was putting the ball where it needed to be for sure. So yeah, I've been impressed with him this whole year, and throughout his entire, football journey, I guess you could say. Even when he was the backup to JT Barrett back in the day, I wanted him or Haskins to start. Did not care, just did not want JT Barrett. So I've been a fan of his for a while now.
Exactly. And then, it's obviously great words said right there. And Ben, let me ask you, what did you like to see? What did you like when Joe Burrow, was playing in the snow and he was just so calm, cool, collective? What all did you like from Burrow on Sunday against the Bills?
There was a lot that I liked, but specifically, I don't think his pulse changes under any circumstance. It could be a game-winning drive or it could be the first drive. He's just always the same. And I really like that. At first it kind of worried me, especially last year's playoff run. Because we're over here having heart attacks, but he's just cool, calm, and collective. I mean, he really is that cool. And it goes way deeper than just his nickname, because in any situation, I've never thought he wouldn't, come up to the challenge. So I think that's probably the most impressive thing that we're really seeing this year too. No matter how close the game is, he's just the same. And the score and the stadium and the crowd and the situation does not have any effect on him virtually. And that's why we're going to Burrowhead, not Arrowhead, I guess.
Got that right, man. I hope we can back that up. I mean, all the talk, talk and the play that we've had. I mean, it's been pretty good so far. Hopefully it's good on Sunday. But playing at Burrowhead, the guy that owns Burrowhead, Arrowhead in this sense, number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's going to be the MVP of the National Football League. He's done some amazing things. He lost his best weapon, Tyreek Hill. He's coming off the ankle injury. What concerns do you have for Sunday night for Patrick Mahomes, Ben, with the ankle?
It's very concerning. I was talking about it with the coworkers today. There had to be some kind of injection given before that press conference, because high ankle sprain like that, you just aren't walking how he was. So I'm very concerned with how he actually feels. We won't get to see it even probably during the game. But with our pass rush, if we can get to him, let's just see how he gets up, if we get to him a couple times. And let's see, like last year in the AFC Championship, he was kind of like toddler Kyler Murray at the end of the game. He can do that better than anybody. He can run around. So let's see if that's diminished. I think that would be a big part. He's not just a true pocket passer. So let's see if there's anything diminished on him running around. So.
Most definitely. And Brady, obviously with Mahomes with this injury overall, what do you think the Chiefs are going to have to do to kind of adjust to Mahomes's, his range of motion and availability in the pocket on Sunday night? What do you think they're going to have to do with Mahomes and some of these other receivers?
I think they're going to have to go a lot of quick game now, with doing less of 3-step drops to give more time for the defense to get to him. Obviously, they're going to need to design some plays, which obviously Andy Reid is capable of doing, that can get the ball to the receivers quick out in space and try to, make a move to get those first downs, or just slowly inch it down the field. become slightly less explosive that way, but it could still be effective because Patrick Mahomes has shown before, like he's thrown those quick hitters plenty of times in the past, but we probably won't see as many scramble plays from him where he's running around like Ben was saying, avoiding defenders and then chucking it downfield. So that's pretty big in terms of because the Chiefs obviously love to do that, but I also think the O-line's up for a big challenge now, obviously, because you cannot let him get sacked a lot, or else he could go out of the game. And then you got Chad Henne back there, which is not ideal for them, obviously.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you look at it like, we'll get more into these questions in a minute, which is kind of like we're almost kind of foreshadowing this stuff. But, from the Chiefs, they're going to probably take a page out of Andy Reid's book from the past and go, like I said, quick game, a lot of screen passes. You see a lot of screens of, Travis Kelce, Kadarius Toney, a lot like that. And just really just get the ball to his playmakers and having them make big plays is what, we'd expect from, Patrick Mahomes to try to, just work that Chiefs offense down the field and just, savor his body. Now, let's take a look here. I'll start with you, Brady, on this. Who's the X factor skill position player for each team on Sunday night? Who is the guy from the Chiefs? Who's the guy from the Bengals that you're looking out for in skill position?
For the Chiefs, I'm not going to say Mahomes because that's just way too obvious. So instead, I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay, former Steeler.
Former Steeler, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going to have to step up because he's he thrived in the quick game at times early in his pro career. So like I said, having to do so much quick game, they're going to need to get it out. And I think Juju might be one of the guys that could potentially step up for them and a guy that the Bengals would need to key on for this game because he's not as much of their downfield guy, it seems like, as some of their other speedy guys they've had in the past, especially Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce is all over the place. So I'll go with him. And then for the Bengals, man, I'm going to say Joe Mixon because he's going to have to play very well this game if the Chiefs decide to go all out on stopping the pass, because obviously the Bengals are more of a passing team than a rushing team, even though they have been able to rush the ball at times for sure. They clearly have their focus on throwing it down the field, which is smart. That's what they should do. So I think Joe Mixon is going to need to play a great game and find holes and not really dance around, just get to it. And I think he did a good job against the Bills doing so. I feel like he was dragging defenders at times for an extra yard closer to the first down, which is all you need in these type of games. If you get contact at 3 yards, make sure you end up gaining at least 4 or 5. So that's what I think. Obviously, the O-line is big in that, but since it's you said skill position, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would go with Mixon to be my X factor for the Bengals.
Most definitely. I mean, you look at it like you were talking about with Juju Smith-Schuster, talk about the quick game. He played a lot of quick game ball with Ben Roethlisberger as he kept getting older and older, and they lost a guy like Antonio Brown. He was, really integrated in that system. Yeah. So, I mean, this could be a big game for Juju Smith-Schuster. And like I said, with Mixon had 100 yards for the first time since week 9 when he scored 5 touchdowns against the Panthers. I mean, obviously you're not going to get that 5 touchdown game out of Joe Mixon again. Maybe you are. I have no idea, but that would be certainly nice to, see flashes of that, against the Bills from last week. Ben, what about you? What is a skill position X factor you're looking for on each team?
I'd love to just say Eli Apple, but I'm actually going to go with CBT, Cameron Britt Taylor. He's a rookie, and he's shown a lot of good flashes. I think the Chiefs obviously have speed. I don't think anyone, would deny that. And I just want to see how we play with that in Travis Kelce too. I'm a bit worried about that as a Bengals fan. So I'd like to see how CBT, D Hill, and obviously our rotten Eli Apple show up. I think that would be a big key because Pacheco can run. And I think on the other side, I'd really like to see Reed not have a good game as a Bengals fan. You know, he likes to talk, but also he's really, really good. And I putting it more on the backfield because I think Mixon and Pacheco are both very, very good, and I could see both of them having a big day. So I just think whoever wins in the very back of the end zone, you know, the big plays as we've seen Jamar in the past 266 yards. If it's anything like that, I think we win. If they can shut that down, it'll be a lot more of a heart attack type game.
Yeah, you gotta love heart attack games in the playoffs. That's just what we're accustomed to as Bengals fans overall. So, you know, it isn't a Bengals game without a nice little jolting, revival session, I would say. You know, next question here. I'll start with you on this one, Ben. Which offensive line is under more pressure to perform well up front? Because obviously, when you talk about Joe Burrow and the Bengals, you talk about the offensive line and all the sacks. But also, when you look at the Chiefs, you look at Patrick Mahomes and his injury. And if he gets sacked, oh boy, who is under more pressure?
I had answers coming into this, but I've thought about it more as we talk. I think the Bengals have going for them that we did really good last week. We did really good, 2 sacks. And then our last time that we've played the Chiefs, the last couple times, only 1 or 2 or 3 sacks. So, I mean, we've looked good against them. Obviously, there's no probably team in NFL history that's had a more worrisome line and so much success. So, that'll always be there. The Chiefs is brand new. That worry is brand new. If we get to Mahomes 2-3 times, is he out? You know, you don't know the extent of the injury. I think it's covered up really well. I'm going to go with actually the Chiefs. I think the threshold is so small for them to let it, especially with who we got on the defense. You know, you don't want to see Hendrickson just laying on top of Mahomes. So I'm going to put it on the Chiefs just because Pat is hurt. So I'm gonna put it on them.
All right, Brady, do you agree with them, or do you have a counter with that?
I agree with him actually, and I probably would have disagreed obviously with if Patrick Mahomes didn't have the ankle injury. So I definitely agree. They need to keep him healthy. He's probably the best player in the NFL overall. You can't not have him as close as possible to full strength. So if the Chiefs O-line plays bad, they're done. If the Bengals O-line plays bad, they've gotten out of that before. They played bad probably multiple times in one last year that I can remember.
Yep.
And I feel like this game, usually they're probably pretty similar mobility wise. I would say Burrow with no injury or like no ankle injury should be more mobile to be able to get out of pressure if their O-line does miss blocks. Like Jackson Carman, does he start? He starts.
He's left tackle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If he whiffs on some guys, Joe Burrow can spin out of it and then maybe find a tight end or somebody coming back to the ball. So I think the Chiefs O-line's under more pressure this game.
Yeah, and I've thought the same thing as well when it comes to that, and I've come from a different angle actually when it comes to this. So when you look at the Bengals. You don't want the interior offensive line to give up pressures to a guy like a Chris Jones who, has had a dominant home wrecker season. All right. So, I mean, obviously up front, Max Sharping at right guard. That's going to be the guy I'm going to watch out for on the Bengals offensive line against Chris Jones, who was a mammoth. All right. And here's the thing. I think, obviously the Bengals offensive line has gotten away with it. 9 sacks in the playoffs last year against the Titans, and we still end up winning that game. I still have no clue how to this day. But when looking at it, I certainly think if the Bengals offensive line plays, a lights out game like they did last week, we're going to have no problems because I trust Burrow to get the ball out and, make the right reads and everything. And if the offensive line is in cohesion when it comes to, the pass and run game, then, it's going to look a lot like it did last week. And I'm not going to say there's more pressure on them. I'm agreeing with you guys that the Chiefs have more pressure because they got to protect Mahomes, and Mahomes can't really get out of the pocket. Well, can't afford to get out of the pocket too many times and risk an injury like that. But, the Bengals are going to play with a chip on their shoulder. Their offensive line will play with a chip on their shoulder, meaning, if we play as well as we did last week, we could run the Chiefs like we ran the Bills and run back to the Super Bowl. So I'm going with the Chiefs, but the Bengals have a pretty big chip on their shoulder on the offensive line. And, we'll move over to the defense. What impressed you more, most about the Chiefs defense last week? Brady, I know me and you were talking about this, that the Chiefs defense, they kind of played the game of their life against the Jags when they had Patrick Mahomes was out for that short time, and the Chiefs were just kind of clamping up a bit. Like what impressed you most about them?
Really just their ability to not let the fact that their quarterback was injured get to them. And sometimes, like in football, when when your best player gets hurt, you usually don't have as much motivation to win the game. Like you're going to start thinking that you start thinking that there's no chance when you lose a guy like that. So for them to still play that hard and to keep the Jaguars out of the end zone and to not let Trevor Lawrence really do much of anything, that was huge. So I thought the Chiefs defense was very good last week, and I thought they all really played good. I feel like Justin Reed had a very good game last week, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they can keep that same defensive intensity for this week back at home on Sunday.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the Chiefs secondary really did a good job overall. Like you said, Justin Reed on the back end. I think some rookie corners stepped up, and they obviously did their job. Had a pick, made some plays on the football. Ben, what did you think of this Chiefs defense, and what impressed you about it?
I was at a restaurant last week, and I was trying to catch glimpses. They had a TV way off in the corner. And I kid you not, it felt like every time the Jags have like a 3rd and 7 or a chance to make something happen, they did not get it, and they could not convert. And they kept the score close, but they just could not convert when it needed to happen. I think that's why we have the Chiefs in their 5th AFC championship in a row, because they're clutch. They really are clutch, and they did enough to where they didn't need Mahomes at his best to win. So I would just say efficiency and what's that word? When you're always just the same. I'd say
consistent.
Consistency that's why they're in 5 straight AFC championships, because defense does win championships. So I would say that, and their 3rd down efficiency as well, specifically.
Yep.
Hey, we learned that defense wins championships at the Wittenberg basketball camp. When we were kids.
It's
gosh,
true.
Man.
It's the truth.
That's very true, though. It is. It is true. Yeah, instilled at a very young age that defense wins championships, and you see quarterback thrown for 5,000 yards, and everyone wants to be just like them. But it's always defense is the backbone of everything, man. Tell you that.
It is.
I mean, put your guard up. That's all you got to say there. And we'll talk about the Chiefs defense, but how about we talk about the Bengals defense real quick? Lou Anarumo, he's probably going to get some head coaching calls here. If not this year, next year. I'm surprised he didn't get some this year. I'm very surprised and very happy about that. How does Lou keep doing it? How does he keep scheming up these brilliant game plans? Josh Allen, the first time against Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady second half. It's really the halftime adjustments. What has impressed you about Lou Anarumo, Ben Connors? What has impressed you?
A lot. Obviously, he's very clutch. There's been many games where, we're like, they're marching down the field. We punch the ball out, not to give away our techniques, but we definitely lead the NFL in that. He really can adjust to anything. It can be Tyreek or it can be Jonathan Taylor. We haven't played them, but it can be anything, and he will adjust. We have all these different pieces that just go so well. Specifically in the Bills game, I thought something that really set the tone. It was later in the game, but it seemed to be when we were closing out, was Mike Hilton blitzing. I mean, Josh Allen.
He's fantastic.
I was pointing it out. I was just trying to time in my mind how fast that was. And it was so disguised too. At least I thought it was. And obviously Josh Allen would probably agree. It's just things like that make the defense so special. And I think that keeps everybody on their toes. You can watch gameplay and you can watch film on it, but there's always going to be something, mischievous going on. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Bengals. I'd say surprise is the best thing we can offer.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the the amount of depth we have, the amount of, like you said, surprise that we bring, the amount of rotations that we can do. It's just we're a multifaceted defense. We're not just known for, we're just going to blitz a whole lot. We're just going to, play a lot of soft zone, this and that. We can switch it up. We can adapt. That's it's just so, the Bengals are, they're really good at adaptation on the defensive side of the football. They can play against the Tom Brady and force pressure against them. They can sit back on a Mahomes or a Josh Allen and make him force some, obviously Mahomes, it's a different story, but Josh Allen will, he'll throw you some picks. He'll put some balls in harm's way for sure. So, I mean, they're really, they can really adapt to any quarterback. Derrick Henry even saw that they were able to, really take advantage of him and shut him down. Nick Chubb in the second time. But I mean, they can really do a lot of things against a lot of great players. Brady, obviously teams of Steelers, you're in the division. You've seen Lou twice this season. What impresses you about the Bengals defense in some situations?
I think that they've done a really good job at getting like their safeties involved, and especially in the blitz game. Like I feel like their safeties get more sacks than you're used to from most teams. Like I saw Mike Hilton was flying around. I think Von Bell might have had a sack last week or something. Yep. And I feel like that wasn't the only game I've seen it. I've seen those guys back there multiple times, and they come free. And I think it's really interesting how kind of like versatile it is. I think that especially the Bengals pass defense is very interesting because, they have a good pass rush, and they have a pretty good DB unit overall. So I think they're one of the better pass defenses. I'm not sure statistically if they are, but in terms of just the eye test, they do some really cool coverages and like disguises, and they're interesting to watch for sure. Especially their run defense. I'm not sure also statistically necessarily how it is, but it also seems to be a good run defense. I feel like DJ Reader, he's had a good year overall this year, and I think the linebacker unit has played well as well. So I don't think there's really a really like a horrible position unit on the Bengals defense, and that's why they've been so good. And obviously, I think the coaching has been very, very good as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think, obviously we talk about the defensive line. You talk about Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard with, the big play against the Ravens, the fumble in the jungle, whatever you want to call it. All right. The interior defensive line, the corners, Eli Apple, talking a lot on Twitter, Cam Taylor, Britt the rookie, the back end. But the linebackers, man, we played two linebackers. Mike Hilton, I know, is a nickel corner, and he can play linebacker a little bit, kind of float around, do a little bit of everything. But really, it's the two linebackers, Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson. Those two guys have been unbelievable this year. I mean, talk about having an act for the, nose for the football. I mean, whether it's interceptions, whether it's filling gaps, pass coverage against tight ends and running backs, they've been fantastic. Both of those guys are going to get paid. Logan Wilson will probably be a Bengal. Jermaine Pratt probably won't be a Bengal. But it's been fun watching those two play, being the quarterbacks of the defense, at the linebacking position. And that's a big key of why the Bengals have been kind of going, because they're in the middle of the defense. They're kind of that nucleus. So they've done a really, really good job of just having things function and flow, and everyone respectively. Like you said, they don't really have a whole lot of holes defensively, in Cincinnati. So, talk about the Bengals defense there, but Brady, let's get some keys to success for the Chiefs on Sunday night if they want to get back to their third Super Bowl in 4 years. That's pretty crazy. What's some keys to success that you have written up for Kansas City?
So one of them we kind of discussed earlier, which is O-line pass protection. They're going to need to be stout against the Bengals front, which is a tough front for sure, to be able to allow Patrick Mahomes some time to pass, especially when he's not going to be able to move around as well. And then defensively for the Chiefs, I really think they're going to need to be able to disguise their coverages, because usually when Burrow knows what coverage you're in, it's like not too hard for him, especially if you're running some type of soft zone. He usually just picks it apart pretty easily. The one Bengals game I went to this year was the Falcons, and they seemed like they were running zone the whole game. And even against that, they were getting they were messing. They were screwing their zone up, and a couple times the receiver would just get straight by, would just run right behind the zone for a long play or a touchdown even. So there's no need to just you've got to be able to disguise your coverages, or else you're probably going to lose. Because it's not easy when you have when you're guarding like Jamar Chase. Obviously, T. Higgins is one of the best second options. Tyler Boyd, and also Hayden Hurst has been good lately. I feel like he's been reliable in big moments. So they don't really have like a hole on their receiving core. So you're going to have to be able to fool Burrow into making a mistake, for especially to win the game. And then one other key, my third and final key, is Juju Smith-Schuster has to play good this game. Like I kind of already hit on that too, but he has to like play, I think, exceptional. I think he has to return to his younger years form, which honestly he probably was only good because Antonio Brown was taking away all the attention. But he's gonna have to get back to that to be able to, for the Chiefs to move the ball efficiently with a injured Mahomes. He needs to be able to beat man coverage and see what he can do.
Yep, all great points from the always insightful Brady King right there. And also one thing I want to mention, Brady, you've been to 2 Bengals games,
Yep.
That I can remember.
I have
And the Ravens and the Falcons, and Joe Burrow has passed for 1,000 yards in those 2 games.
Correct. Yeah,
what in the world? You need to go to a couple. You need to go to a couple more games, especially Sunday.
Honestly, like the 2. So I think those might be his 2 career highs in passing yards. Like, not positive.
I think so. Yeah, they both are.
Those are his 2 career highs. So the 2 games I've been to of Bengals games, Joe Burrow has thrown for his most yards, and it just seems like I'm sitting there like does this usually happen to this level? I'm like, it doesn't. I'm like, it seems like he has a lot of yards right now. Then I realized he broke like his record. I'm like, okay, he had to have, because like you go to the game, and last year's Ravens game, I believe, is when he had his most yards. That was my first ever NFL game I went to. I'm pretty sure T. Higgins was the one that had a big game that game.
Yep.
He had a big game. And then this year it was more Jamar Chase that had the big game. And he also got injured that game. But Joe Burrow, AJ Terrell got hurt on like the first drive, and then whoever else was in was not very good the rest of the game. So two easy wins for the Bengals. Maybe I might have to go to Arrowhead on Sunday and see if I can, and just to see if it's actually me giving the good luck charm, or if I'm just lucky.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Burrowhead. All right, we're going. We're all right. We're going to Burrowhead. Burrowhead, the Bengals. Keys of success. Ben, what's the keys?
Well, the biggest key might be sending Brady, because we could use another 500-yard day. But the keys, I think, just taken from the Bills game, that was something that was really rare to see for us in the playoffs, was when Mixon can run for however many it was, that opened up so many things, and it just made everything feel lighter. It felt like we didn't have to squeeze as much. I felt like we had so many options, and they worked well. I think if Mixon can just have a good day, it doesn't have to be a 5-touchdown day, as much as I'd love that. And we'd all love to see that. I think if Mixon can open up the run game, and especially our O-line can open it up for him, that would be huge. I think, and I'm heavy on it, that the cornerback play will be huge for both sides. But specifically for us, I really hope we can back up Eli's words. And
please.
I hope for CBT and D Hill and Jesse Bates back there. I think there's a lot on the line, and I think this is a perfect time to shine too, because Mahomes probably won't be able to get it back as far. He doesn't have Tyreek anymore. I'd love to see what we can do with, a less agile Mahomes. We really should play lights out. So if we start getting burnt there, I think that's where the Chiefs are going to try to come in. And then the third key, I should have said it first, if we go up, we will never go back down. If we can start off like we start with the Bills, they're not going to catch us. But if they start ahead, that's where they can take over. So getting ahead would be the number one key. If we're up 14-0, I would bet all my money that we do not lose.
I like
All
it.
right, yeah. A betting man right there in Ben Connors. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think Cincinnati's gonna have to we're gonna have to have another balanced attack, in the run and pass game overall. We gotta win the turnover battle. That's the thing. You gotta win the turnover battle. Can't give the Chiefs short fields. We would love to take any short fields the Chiefs would give us. We would love it a lot. We appreciate it. So, just win the turnover battle, like said, get it going on the ground, be methodical with possessions. We don't have to take the bait, obviously, but hey, if it's there, shit, it's there. Just take, we gotta have I think we gotta have an explosive play or two, but we can still win this game without a ton of explosive plays. And then on defense, I think the plan is still going to be the same. I think it's going to be a rush 3, rush 4, drop 7 or 8. And if we win our matchups up front, in our pass rush, if we're winning matchups up front, like a DJ Reader inside or a Trey Hendrickson getting off the line and beating Orlando Brown Jr., I think it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs offensive line, very good. If they're doing their job and they're protecting Mahomes is obviously being one of the best, if not the best pocket passer in the NFL. It's obviously going to be a close game, like it should be. It's the two best teams in the AFC, in all of our opinions. So I think that's going to be what happens. All right, we come to the end of the show. Now it's time for picks. Brady, what is your pick for Sunday? Who's going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl in Arizona?
Ooh, that's tough. I still haven't even fully decided, but I think I have fully decided now.
Okay.
It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be another classic. It's gonna be another classic AFC championship game like last year. And the result will not change. I think the Bengals are gonna win. I think they're gonna win 30-26.
30-26. Ben, I told you he was a logical Steelers fan. I told you before that he was. So
he woke up this morning and chose. Brady woke up this morning and chose the truth. I appreciate that.
Of course.
And Chase, if I can tell mine, it's actually one off on each. Yeah. Same team. I'm with the Bengals. Not a lot of surprises there, but 31-27. I had that. That's right. I think that's right where we're at is going to be.
Yep. I agree. I'm not too far off of my prediction overall. Funny thing, the Bengals and the Chiefs, the last two games they've played, the Bengals won 27-24. The Bengals have won the last 3 games by 3 points, the last 2 being the same exact score. Will it be the same exact score? No. Will it be the same winner? Yes. I got Bengals 31-24. I think we are going to, get ahead pretty early. And I think the Chiefs are going to be having to play from behind, but I think it'll be a close game overall. But I think the Bengals are going to make enough plays down the stretch to hold on, secure the win, and, take over Burrowhead and go to Arizona. So, I think we got a clean sweep of the Bengals there. This should be a really, really, really good game on Sunday night. Can't wait to look forward to it. You guys got any final thoughts before we hop off here?
They're going to be playing the Niners. That's all I got to say.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to throw that in.
Okay. Ben, who are they going to be playing at this point?
I agree, too. I think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC by far. So I think we'll have a Super Bowl rematch for the third time of 81, 88, and now 2023. Let's go. Bengals, Niners again.
Man, Brady, you watched Super Bowl with me last year.
I did.
You saw a very depressed side in that, right? You saw a depressed side, and Ben was at the game. I mean, we were. Wow. I mean, we all saw the reactions from each other. It was a very interesting time. It was a very happy time all the way till about the minute 20 mark and everything. But yeah, I mean, hopefully the Bengals make it. Hopefully we do a lot of shows about it, but we'll see what happens, man. We're still going to have a bunch of coverage regardless of what happens on Sunday. Hopefully the Bengals get the job done. But yeah, with that being said, that's Brady King down below. That's Ben Connors to my right, and I'm Chase Jantz. And, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next episode.